Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and Pokemon fans of the world, your boy Corey, aka Crasher, here with a new video, and this is going to be a competitive guide on Ceruledge. Taking a look at its typing, it is that of Fire and Ghost, which is hella unique, absolutely amazing. Now, I will warn you guys, you are going to be weak to the likes of Ground, Rock, Ghost, Water, and Dark type attacks. However, you have an immunity to normal and fighting type moves, and on top of that, you have a resistance to Poison, Bug, Steel, Fire, Grass, Ice, and Fairy type moves, and Bug is 4 times resistance. Moving on to the abilities, we have ourselves Flash Fire, which is an amazing ability that grants you an immunity to fire type moves and also gives you a boost in your fire type attacks should you get hit with a fire type move, and its hidden ability is known as Weak Armor, which activates when you get hit with a physical move, making your defense stat lower by 1 stage, however increasing your speed stat by 2 stages. Absolutely amazing if you want to turn the tide in battle. And then moving on to its stats, it has 75 in the HP, 125 in the attack, 80 in the defense, 60 in special attack, 100 in special defense, and 85 in the speed. So obviously, its standout stat is that amazing base 125 physical attack, and it's got decent defenses to make use of as well, and its speed is also not half bad either. So let's make our way to Pokemon Showdown, where we have ourselves some set ideas for Ceruledge, which you can use to slap the competition. The first set is going to be featuring an all-out attacking slash setup set. Leading things off, we have ourselves Life Orb as the held item, and this right here is going to allow you to do 30% more damage at the cost of 10% of your health whenever you utilize an offensive move. As for the ability, we're going to go all out with Weak Armor. As stated before, if a physical attack hits this Pokemon, the defense will be lowered by 1 stage, however the speed stat will be raised by 2, which is incredible when you know how to use it. Moving on to its moveset, the first move we have is known as Bitter Blade. Its signature move, it is a physical fire type move with base 90 power, and half the damage you inflict gets converted into health restoration, which is absolutely amazing, and will definitely help mitigate the recoil from Life Orb. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, to the next move, we have ourselves Shadow Claw, which is a physical ghost type move with 70 base power that has a high critical hit ratio, and it's also stab, so it is something to definitely consider. Moving on, we have ourselves Close Combat, which is a physical fighting move with base 120 power. However, the drawback is that when you use this move, your defense and special defense get lowered by 1 stage. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves Swords Dance, which raises your physical attack by 2 stages. As for the EV investment, we're going to go all out offensive with maxing out the attack and maxing out the speed with 252 EVs apiece, and the 4 remaining will be in special defense with a Jolly Nature, which is going to further increase your speed and lower your special attack. Now, the aim for this set is to be as naturally fast as possible, set up your offenses with Swords Dance, and basically just raise hell like Stone Cold Steve Austin, baby. Oh, hell yeah! So moving on to the next set, ladies and gentlemen, this right here is going to be a substitute bulk up set, which can definitely cause some shenanigans if you know how to predict. So the item of choice is going to be Leftovers, which allows you to restore 1/16 of your maximum HP at the end of every turn. As for the ability, we are going to go with Flash Fire this time, so that way we have ourselves a fire type immunity and the chance to power up our fire type moves. However, I will make a quick mention that you can use Weak Armor if you really want, and it's also a great way to boost your speed in a really cheeky fashion. As for the moveset, the first move we have is known as Bulk Up, which is going to raise your attack and defense stat by 1 stage. Moving on to the second move, we have ourselves Bitter Blade, which is not only its signature move, it's a really strong fire type attack, and it's also a great way to cause damage and get some recovery as well. Absolutely love this. The next move we have is known as Shadow Sneak, which is a ghost physical move with base 40 power, and it's priority. It usually goes first, so this right here is also a great way to have some priority on your team if your team is lacking priority moves. And the last move we have is known as Substitute, which is going to take 25% of your HP to put you behind a protective barrier to not only shield you from attacks, but also shield you from status moves unless unless the opponent has a way to bypass it with either sound-based moves or if they have the ability Infiltrator. Moving on to the EV investment, we are once again going to max out our attack and speed and 4 in defense, but this time with an adamant nature because we're not so much going to worry about having as much speed as possible, but you can go jolly if you want. However, with an adamant nature, this is going to further increase your attack stat, and look at the attack number, 383, woo! That right there is something not to mess with, folks. So the next moveset we have is going to be an all-out offensive set, but with Assault Vest in the mix. And what this item does is it boosts the holder's special defense by 50%. However, you are limited to offensive moves only. As for the ability, once again, is going to be Flash Fire. However, if you want to have weak armor, then it can work out as well. Now, the first move we have is known as Terra Blast. Now, this starts out as a special normal type move with base 80 power. However, when you are terrestrialized, if you have a higher physical attack than you do special attack, then Terra Blast becomes a physical move. But if you have higher special attack than you do physical attack, then it remains as a special move. Now, the Terra type that I have in particular for this set is going to be ground. So when you terrestrialize, Terra Blast becomes a ground type move, and defensively, you turn into a ground type attack, making Terra Blast stab, but you also end up keeping your original stab of fire and ghost. So that right there is going to be a pretty damn lethal combination. So moving on, we have ourselves Bitterblade, which not only is a great fire type move with no drawbacks, but this is also a great way to get some health restoration while dealing the pain. Next up, we have ourselves Close Combat, which is going to be an amazing fighting type move. It's going to bring the pain, no doubt about it, and Shadow Claw is there for stab as well. And I also want to point this out as well. When you have ground, fire, fighting, and ghost type coverage, there is absolutely no way in hell a Pokemon with any type combination is going to be able to switch in safely to eat up a hit, because there is no type combination that can resist all 4 of those types coming at you. Moving on to the EV investment, once again, we have ourselves max attack, max speed, 4 special defense with a jolly nature. There isn't really much else to say about that. You want to go all out offensive, have as much natural speed as possible, and just absolutely slaughter the competition with them ghoulish fiery blades, baby. So the next set that I have here is going to be a little bit more of a cheekier way to use Ceruledge. The item of choice that we have is known as Heavy Duty Boots, which is going to grant you complete immunity to entry hazards whenever you switch in. So that means Stealth Rocks, don't worry about it. Sticky Webs, don't worry about it. Spikes, don't worry about that. You know what I'm saying? You are absolutely Gucci when it comes to entry hazards, provided you retain your heavy-duty boots. As far as the ability, we are going to go with Flash Fire, but again, you can go with weak armor if you want to be even more cheekier and have a way to boost your speed even more. As for the moveset, the first move we have is going to be Taunt, which is going to shut down the opponent's attempt at using any non-attacking moves. So this is especially going to be really annoying for any Pokemon that's more reliant on setup as well as support for the team. So this is definitely a great way to do exactly that. Cause disruption and be really cheeky in the process. And speaking of cheeky, we have ourselves Will-O-Wisp, which is going to not only inflict the burn status on the opponent, but it's also going to cut the physical attack in half. This is a great way to screw over any physical attackers that try to cause harm to Ceruledge. The next move we have is going to be Bitterblade because, once again, free health restoration while causing damage. Hello, that is an absolutely amazing move. And last but not least, we have ourselves Shadow Claw, which is also really amazing with a good chance to cause a critical hit. As for the EV investment, once again, we're going to go all out with maxing out the attack and speed with 252 EVs each and 4 in special defense with a jolly nature. Now, I also want to showcase some other cool things that Ceruledge can make use of. So we have ourselves Light Clay, which is a held item that increases the duration of Aurora Veil, Light Screen, and Reflect Reflect from 5 to 8 turns, and it just so happens that this Pokemon has access to both Light Screen and Reflect. So if you want to make Ceruledge a dual screens user, well, you can do exactly that. This thing also has access to Destiny Bond, which is going to activate if you end up using Destiny Bond and you have the opponent knock you out in the same turn. Both you and the opponent will end up going down thanks to Destiny Bond. We also have ourselves Disable, which for 4 turns is going to disable the target's last used move. So this right here is also a great way to cause further disruption. Here's some more moves that Ceruledge can make use of. We have ourselves Poison Jab, which is a physical poison move, base 80 power, with a 30% chance to poison the target. We also have ourselves Psycho Cut, which also has a high critical hit ratio. It's a 70 base power physical psychic type move, which can also be pretty useful. We have ourselves Solar Blade, which is a really powerful base 125 physical grass type move, which is also a 2-turn charge move. However, if you use this while the sun is in effect, then you don't need to charge at all, and you can slaughter the competition with Solar Blade. And lastly, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves Phantom Force, which is a 2-turn move that allows you to disappear in the first turn and strike in the second turn, and it's also a respectable base 90 power physical ghost type move, and this right here could also be a great way to be a little bit more on the sneaky side if you really want to be cheeky even more so against your opponents. Now, I want to quickly touch on Terra types you can use for Ceruledge. I did mention earlier a ground Terra type set you can use for the Pokemon, but you can also go with either Fire or Ghost to further boost the power of your same type attack bonus moves, making them even more powerful in battle. You could also go for a Terra type to make up for a move type you cannot learn. So perhaps either a Rock Terra type, a Water Terra type, or even a Terra type that might not be Stab, but it can work with a move type it can learn, like Steel or Dark. But let me know what you guys think. What Terra types would you personally use for Ceruledge? And ladies and gentlemen, that just about wraps up this competitive guide for Ceruledge. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. How would you guys run Ceruledge in a competitive way for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet? Whatever your guys' feedback and thoughts happen to be, ladies and gentlemen, I would love to hear you guys out in the comments down below. And that's it for the video, ladies and gentlemen, so I want to say thank you guys very much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, consider liking and subscribing, and especially comment your thoughts down below, because I love hearing from you guys. Always have, that will never ever change. So thank you guys again for watching, have yourself a fantastic day or night, depending on your time zone, and I'll see you guys in the next one.